Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is Matt Jarbo. This is 3 Buck Theater. And this is kind of an odd topic to be making a video about, but it was recently reported that Wonder Woman is projected to make $80 million in its opening weekend. And that $80 million number is a high point of contention depending on which publication you read it on, right? You have got, who was it? MovieWeb saying Wonder Woman is on track for a big $80 million opening weekend. Okay, but then you jump over to comicbook.com where they say Wonder Woman projected to have lowest DCEU opening weekend. But then again, comicbook.com is notorious for clickbait headlines and a lot of bullshit articles. And honestly, I've just gotten so, I read them occasionally, but it's so clickbaity. But then Comic Book Movie says box office early forecast predicts Wonder Woman will have massive opening weekend. All right. But then you jump over to WeGotThisCovered.com and they say Wonder Woman on track for disappointing opening weekend. And you can, it's very much kind of a high or low depending on who you talk to. Oh my God, Wonder Woman going to make $80 million opening weekend. Is that good or bad? I don't know. And that's essentially what these articles are doing. They're countering one another for clickbait purposes, because ultimately the story about Wonder Woman on track to make $80 million is really not that big of a deal. It really isn't, right? I mean, normally I wouldn't touch this particular subject because I don't really feel like it's worthy to talk about. But when you have multiple outlets that are just contradicting one another for the sake of trying to get clicks, it's something we're talking about in terms of the state of affairs with movie news. Okay, but I want to talk to you guys though today about one thing we all can look at as hard fact, and that would be opening numbers in the month of June, going back a couple years. So if you go back and you look at 2014, we're just going to go back a couple years, 3 years. All right, 2014, in the month of June, there were some big movies. You had Edge of Tomorrow, Fault in Our Stars, How to Train Your Dragon 2, 22 Jump Street, Transformers: Age of Extinction. And you've probably seen a fair amount of those movies. But look at these opening numbers here for just the month. Edge of Tomorrow, which in my opinion is one of the best films of 2014, one of the best sci-fi films in the last decade, and one of my favorites, only grossed $28 million in its opening weekend to take on a $100 million domestic gross, which is sad. You've got The Fault in Our Stars, which was a huge opening weekend fucking box office return when people rushed out to go see it because they loved I think Hank Green or Josh Green book. I don't know who wrote it. But that only made $48 million in its opening weekend. How to Train Your Dragon 2, which, keep in mind, that's coming off of the hugely successful How to Train Your Dragon, which released March 26th of 2010. And I only know that because it came out on my birthday. And I saw the midnight show, so yeah, a bit side thing right there. That only did $49 million in the opening weekend. 22 Jump Street, which was hysterical, only did $57 million in its opening weekend. And Transformers: Age of Extinction, which everyone is still shaking their heads at, made $100 million in its opening weekend. That was 2014. That was 2014. Then you jump over to 2015 here, and you go back and you look at what came out in June of 2015. You have Insidious Chapter 3, which was the 5th highest grossing film of that month, which its opening weekend numbers at $22 million. Ted 2, which is a highly anticipated sequel, everyone loved Ted, only opened with $33 million. Then you've got Spy, Paul Feig's Melissa McCarthy action comedy that was actually pretty decent. That opened with $29 million. Inside Out, Pixar's great summer film, that opened with $90 million. All right, and then Jurassic World opened with $208 million. Jesus Christ, that's a lot of money. But the point is, you can see that like only one or two of those movies crossed over $80 million, and they were kind of established films or from established studios. You know, Pixar movies always do well, and Jurassic World was just fucking huge. So goddamn huge. Then you jump over to 2016, last year. Okay, so you look here, you've got Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Out of the Shadows. Okay, that only grossed $35 million in its opening weekend. The Conjuring 2, $40 million. Independence Day Resurgence, $41 million. Central Intelligence, $35 million. And the reason why it's higher up on the list is that it grossed more throughout its total gross was more than Independence Day. And then Finding Dory opened with $135 million. All right. Now, the reason why I'm telling you all of these numbers, and you've probably already tuned out at this point, is because with all of these articles talking about Wonder Woman and talking about how much money it's going to make in its opening weekend, it's projected $80 million is roughly double the amount most movies have made in their opening weekend in June. Summer movie box office totals have gone down across the board unless it's certain films like Marvel movies or Disney animated or DreamWorks animated. Not so much How to Train Your Dragon, but Secret Life of Pets did really, really well. I don't understand it. The movie wasn't good, but that's a lot of what's going on. Okay, so family friendlier movies are tending to do like that. Now, Wonder Woman is projected 80 million. Is it going to do more than 80 million? My anticipation is yes. I would look at, I would definitely look at Wonder Woman as pulling in probably $1 billion worldwide. I mean, Jurassic World total domestic gross in 2015 was $652 million. You know, and that was a sequel that was coming 20 years later, or not 10, like 10 years later, 13 years later, somewhere in there. But Wonder Woman is a very highly anticipated film. First time she's ever been on the big screen like this. People want to see it. 80 million is nothing to scoff at. And the people out there that are telling you that it's a huge disappointment, everything else, are lying to you. They're outright lying to you in the headlines in order to get clicks. That's just the way I see it. Because if you look at the hard data, you look at the numbers, you can see that $80 million is considered successful for June, given the way things have been going. And there's that. That's pretty much what it boils down to. So I am curious to know your guys' thoughts about this. Do you think that Wonder Woman is going to gross a lot of money? Do you think that Wonder Woman is going to be a success or a failure for the DCEU? Let me know in the comments below. My name is, of course, Matt Jarbo. You've been listening to 3 Buck Theater. If you haven't already, thumbs up the video, subscribe to the channel, share this around. Share it around, man. Get people in on the conversation. Let's grow this channel. Let's talk movies, baby. It's all great. And I'll talk to you guys later. Have yourself a fantastic day, and peace out.